Sorry. Hi. I want to thank everybody first. I want to thank you guys. This is an amazing venue. What a good space. What a good energy. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks to the great weather people. I love them so much. They're friends. They're colleagues. I adore everybody. So, all right. Anyway, lately I've been doing a bit of a dip into, you know, the Buddhist writer Thich Nhat Hanh, the Vietnamese Buddhist. Anyway, this is called Meditation on Thich Nhat Hanh's Taming the Tiger Within. Autocorrect turned my Thich Nhat Hanh into thick, neat hash. And I flipped page to page, hoping to tame my tigers, but only found potatoes diced to a precise 3 millimeters and corned beef cubed exactly 1/8 of an inch. By page 23, the onions were sweated and sweet, and the brown of rice paddies after the harvest, and the smell of crisp in the duck-fat autumn air made me an inhale, an exhale, a breathing, and again. Autocorrect understood the bodhisattva I needed. The tigers receded with corned beef between their teeth. Thank you. And this is the poem I have inside the mechanical birds, see, thing down, you know. The anthology that we're here celebrating, and it's a lovely anthology, and I am honored to be in it. This is called Every Day's a Zatoichi Day. One. You have to be a bit of an undertaker, have to massage death, or you won't get everywhere. If you can't say, man, I almost died, keep going, keep living, further out, to hone sharp, katana the bullshit back and come around from the other end, pruning your universe for clarity. Fearless, a sculptor cuts away the marble where it doesn't look like the horse. Close, apple peel thin, trimmed tight like the skin of the atmosphere or the first finger pass pressure that raises the hairs unexpectedly. Thank you. And this is a New York City love poem called F Train 5:45 p.m. Riding back to back on the F train with you is like a Cold War spy movie with code phrases and trench coats, and the fate of the world hangs in the balance, only instead of uranium, the MacGuffin is us. Thank you. Very good. And this is an old one that came to mind lately, and it's been back in my head, so I'm trying to get it out, I guess. This is called As Salon in the Seine. Dead night, Godoting the inaudible click. But beers disappear and joints smoke themselves, and the click hasn't come. Not in my head, not from the clock, nor out of the keyboard, dead under my fingers, rigorous, unblooded, silent dead, and beers disappear and smoke ascends in the coffin air. For the click hasn't clunked, for the click hasn't glimmered, and the click will not glimmer, and I can't hear the click from the beer cap off the counter, nor the hiss-snap flare of self-smoking joints. With clanging silence from keys untapped, burbling streets through 6 feet of stiff water, immobile moments between lub and dub. You'd think the click would feel loud as a crack in the jaw, but there's no scratch inside the lid of the keyboard, and my ears scream at the coffinated quiet of midnight morning. The river doesn't end the dread. That just eddies in place whilst the body is whisked away. Thank you. And in honor of the other Matthew who read his first poem, this was the first thing I ever had published. And then the guy who published it in the magazine got it into a book. And I thought, man, I have... Yeah, that didn't work out. This is called Hard Bop. It's a modal sonnet. I need to get some rhythm in my speech, a soulful sort of sultry syncopation, notes too high, too low to easily reach, a riff to proclaim my conflagration. A drumbeat pounds, a backbeat of desire that sounds across my Serengeti plain. It chanted dance around a swirling fire, singeing love is singing through my veins. Hot licks and crazed improvisation styles, the whisper tune of limbs and lips and sighs, as sweet as any solo played by Miles, as shocking as my first glimpse of your eyes. If only I could play a bebop tune that burns the burn I burn when I'm with you. Thank you. Somewhere, a field in summer. In 20 years, when I remember today, it won't be the words. It won't be the interlaced clouds and formations of geese reflected in the fen below. It won't be the smell of pines and hyacinths riding faint, distant smoke. It won't be what I wore. It won't be what you wore or the way it curved with your hip as you leaned into me. It won't be the Spanish wine or the French cheese or the hum of mosquitoes. It won't be the way the world seemed to be crumbling around us while we cuddled in the soft bubble of our own. It won't be the music of your eyes or the color of your voice. It won't be the way the ants conquered the grass in endless regiments. It won't be the barking of unseen dogs. 20 years from now, I'll recall how my heart echoed your beat. Thank you. We had a real loss in the poetry community a few months ago with the passing of Steve Dalachinsky. I think many of us are still rocked by it. He's a real big name for a lot of us. Anyway, I wrote this the morning he passed. It's called Schrodinger's Cat and the Dogs of War. I wish I could have bought you one more drink, gotten Dalachinsky again one more time, because no one stirred the shit more delightfully than you. And the shit is real in the war zone, and nobody leaves the field unscarred. But to collage those scars into beauty is saints' work, and saints' work is desperately needed on days like this. And I want to blow this body blow into an unfettered solo, a yeah baby, and a self-depreciating eye-fire smile, a modal nod to imps and saints and curmudgeonly sons of bitches, the root and the staff, the harmony of chants orchestrated in fifths. Battlefield saints display their scars, less frightening than the vulnerability that lies beneath. It floats on a skin of love. I didn't know Train or Ornette, but I knew you, and that's more than enough for me. Thank you. Stop me when you're sick of me. This has an epigram. All right, epigram. Graph. I never get that shit right, man. I always think I have it, and I'm always fucking wrong. Anyway, it's from Leonard Cohen. Poetry is just the evidence of life. If your life is burning well, poetry is just the ash. And this is called Leonard Cohen was a destination he traveled towards his whole life and finally got there just before he died. In Navajo, many nouns are verbs. Things are fleeting. They're only what they do. Not a person, the action personing. This is the grammar of engagement. This is what it is when it's raining out. I'm ising. Be longing. Be stirring. Be wildering. Be coming. You are the universe youing. What else could you be? Thank you. Oh, please. I often find I'm up late writing poetry, as I'm sure many of you have experienced. It's like, whoa, now all of a sudden I'm ready to go to bed. No, I'm just going to scratch one. Okay, all night. Anyway, I wrote this the night of the election, the disastrous last election. It's called Post-Trump Pantoum, 1:20 a.m. Max Roach is crawling my vertebrae in the time to the low gong of a brass chime outside in hurricane wind. In time to the low gong, palpable, impenetrable, inside like hurricane wind, an impossible tap on the shoulder. Palpable, implausible, no one else is awake but the tap on the shoulder. I spin and look away. I'm the only one up after this disaster. I spin the dial anyway, but the news doesn't change. After a disastrous election, no one undies, and the news stays the same. Some wounds huddle in close, and no one undies. A toll from a brass gong. Huddled wounds will not heal, and still Max Roach crawls my spine. Thank you. That's the water. Sorry about that. I meant to bring that up with me, and then I spaced out. This, I don't know if any of you know, one of the other editors from Great Weather is a fabulous poet, George Wallace. And this is a poem I wrote for George. It's called Sand is the Sound of Poetry. The beach, let's try it again. Thank you, George. The beach hasn't changed, and kids haven't changed, and the sun still shines, but the empire is collapsing. And goddamn, I still love the idea of America, where you can drive without stopping and catch a fly ball and scream your truth in whatever meter suits you best. Goddamn, I love the idea of America, imagined by French intellectuals under the boot of crown and cross. God damn, I love this idea hewn real by the English, built by the world. A world that needed a better metric than bloodlines and fiats and swords and stones to shape the future. Sand is the sound of soft shoe lullabies. Sand is the sound of construction crews. Sand is the sound of nothing to do under a summer sun. Sand is the sound of hurricane floods and saxophones and boardwalk love and morning cries and time slipping by. Sand is the sound of poetry. God damn. Thank you. All right, I got three more. This one is a found poem. I don't know how much you can cut a poem before it stops being a found poem, but we'll call it a found poem. This is The Dead of Waterloo were sold as fertilizer. True story, man. The dead of Waterloo had their teeth pulled out, fashioned into dentures. Waterloo was such a bonanza for Britain's denture industry that sets of human teeth were sold as Waterloo dentures. Their bones were ground to fertilizer. The good farmers of Yorkshire, for their daily bread, were indebted to the bones of their children. Thank you. Thank you. It hurts.
100 years later,
It's always too soon, forever too soon. All right, I got two more now. This one is haibun. You know haibun? It's where you intersperse prose and haiku. It's an old Japanese form. This is a very short haibun. It's called Haibun for My Father. Tomorrow would have been his 92nd birthday, and I don't know why it's so sunny out. The breeze whisks away the summer heat in dust flurries and lavender. Every swaying tree and garden flower tisks my desire for clouds. I wash the dishes. I set the table. I wrap myself in everyday tasks. The hot peppers ripen from purple to red. Sparrows pick at the seeds that Megan scatters out back. The cats occupy their cushions. There's cruel comfort in the quotidian. It's good to sit in the garden. Morning doves sound like rusted springs on wind-up toys when they fly away. Thank you. All right, I'm going to do my last one. Before I do, I just want to say thank you again to everyone. I am just so impressed with this space and this crowd, and you guys run a great reading. And you know, I host a reading, these guys host readings. We know it ain't easy to do it well, and thank you. Just appreciation. This last one is called The Promise Wasn't Just Flying Cars and 3D TVs. We were raised in that golden moment between the pill and AIDS. When the rain-slicked streets pulsed bodies and beats, neon reflections, sidewalks and mines, and wind-etched skin, and the gray faces were in retreat. There are betrayals that are worse, much worse than lies. When truths become undone, love, a weapon deadly, unwittingly turned on ourselves, friendly fire, candor, and a kiss. Almost as sad as the beautiful dead are those who name each death as victory and vindication, who name the world suffering, who name joy sin. But let us not name them, pale and bloodless and of little worth. let's dance instead. Let's dance instead, let's dance instead. Crouched in pain, bounding in jubilation, screaming defiance, arms outthrust and not akimbo. Kick and scratch and stroke and slide, writhe and spin, riot, riot, riot. Remember those who were with those who still are. Films are in 3D now. I saw a flying car the other day. The future is always a gift we give ourselves. Just tug on the ribbon like this. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.